wanted to have you on so we could just kind of just talk, and people will be able to interact. We'll be able to see their comments and all. But I just wanted you to share, and I could share what I was feeling when I was first diagnosed, because you're not alone. I mean, unfortunately, I don't
Yeah.
know how many thousands are diagnosed every day. And like myself, I was getting a pat on the back and given 3 packets, which drug do you want? And I mentioned diet exercise. They kind of looked at me like, yeah, you could try. But
Right.
I'm like,
Good luck.
yeah, they're like, oh, there's no proof under their breath. And I'm like, okay. Anyways,
Exactly. Yes.
pat on
Yeah.
the back, good luck.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well,
Yeah. Well, I've been through, yeah, those things over the last 4 years. Just, honestly, it was a shock. I'm kind of similar to probably most MS people where, you're super healthy, 3-sport athlete, super active. And, one day you wake up and you can't hardly walk and you can't speak and everything you look at is 2 different colors and just kind of out of nowhere. And I really kind of didn't know what I was getting into. Um, and I'm sure everyone else, many people have experienced the super long duration it takes to get diagnosed. So that happened to me 4 years ago, what I just talked about, and maybe even almost 5. And now I'm just now officially getting diagnosed within the last month to 2 weeks by 2 different neurologists. So
take us back a little bit. So what brought all this? You're a mom. You're married. You're raising a family. So
yep.
what came about that you started to feel what? Tell us about your.
Well, it was really all of a sudden for me. It didn't, there was no warning or anything like that. It was just all of a sudden I was just crippling tired. And like I said, I couldn't get out of bed. When I got out of bed, I couldn't speak. It was almost like I had like, I don't know, a fifth of vodka or something. I just like couldn't form words. And I felt like my legs were walking through quicksand, you know. Um, and then my husband, who has a little bit of background in medicine, he said, "Hey, we need to get you in and get you examined. There's something's wrong, you know."
Background medicine. Your husband's a doctor, no?
Yep, yep, emergency ER doctor. So he was concerned. He had some concerns about, I don't know. I was a PE teacher. I don't really, I don't know these medical terms, but
PE teacher, physical education.
yeah. And so he said, we need to get you in there and get you MRI, see what's going on. There's no reason. He said, it's almost like you've had some sort of stroke or something, or maybe a tumor, whatever. So I was like, I'm fine with that, whatever. And I said, and things kind of went away kind of gradually over like 3 to 4 weeks. I really didn't think anything of it. I was like, I'm fine, whatever, rough night, whatever. And but they came back with the MRI, and the very first person who reads those, whatever they're called, he said, this, she's got some lesions on her brain, and to me this looks like MS. And I was just kind of like, MS, what's that? I had no clue. I actually thought it was like muscular dystrophy. I didn't know. I just, you know uneducated when it comes to those things. But anyways, I was shocked. I was in the basement at our old house, at our smaller house, and folding the laundry, and he came down and he was like, I don't know where this is gonna go, but I think they're right. And he said that to me 4 years ago. Well, wives never listen to their husbands. this wife especially.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm healthy, I'm fine. So, but year after year, over the last 4 years, I have had some setbacks, and what they call flares and relapses or whatever. And
Tell us about your setbacks.
my setbacks, it would just go right back to the same symptoms.
Was the same
And
kind of drunkly you were saying, like feeling that kind of way?
oh, drunk, yeah, I feel like yeah, just the exhaustion, the speech. I had some bladder issues that I've never had any issues even after having 3 kids. I was fine, with that kind of stuff. So just things that were really unexplained.
Numbness, double
Oh
vision.
yeah, tingling, numbness, burning. Luckily, I've been mostly pain free. I'll get a few stabbing pains here and there, but those will eventually go away. Um, but yeah, so those things would come back. And but my neurologist never really saw me sick because I live in kind of like in the country. I'm an hour from um, the doctor's offices and stuff like that, other than my husband's ER.
Okay.
So I think that had a little bit of an issue as well. For me, I would recommend try to get seen, when you're not feeling well, so they can see those symptoms and see your lack of coordination and things like that. Um, but anyways, so yeah, just all of that, just in 4 years. That's the thing that I'm just, hung up on. And some people it's even longer. And so, what is that? In my mind right now, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's 4 years of wasted time. That's 4 years that I could have been chopping veggies and blending stuff in my Vitamix and
Exactly. Exactly.
helping myself.
So you would you'd have these symptoms, you go to the neurologist, you go to the doctor, and then what they would say, well, we don't know, or we're just looking in it.
Right. We're not sure. Your symptoms are pretty mild, because you got to understand these people see, they see sick people all day long. I understand it's almost like they become numb to what they're seeing or whatever. We notice more about our bodies than anyone. We know when we're not right. When you go to the bench press, Dr. G, and the left arm's pushing harder than the right. That. The doctor doesn't know that.
Unfortunately, I'm very, very aware of all those little
Yeah,
bumps.
exactly. We know when it's like, that's really weird. That's never happened before.
So when you went to the doctor, they do MRI, spinal taps,
Oh yeah, spinal taps. Oh, those are gross.
Okay.
That was a horrible experience.
How so? Pain, headaches.
Yeah, the headache. Needles don't bother me. None of that bothered me.
Okay.
But the headache afterwards, I actually didn't listen. At the time, I was coaching high school softball, and I went back and tried to coach a softball game while I was in the dugout flat. I couldn't coach. So, anyways, yeah.
That's what we do.
It's what we do. It's what we do. We don't listen. We're very bad patients. But
horrible patients.
yes. So anyways, we did the spinal taps, the MRIs, and my MRIs have been stable. They've said no new, activity, but my symptoms have just kept coming back year after year. And each time they're just getting a little bit worse. My balance is getting a little more off. Despite, I have a really awesome personal trainer that I work with. His name is Ronald Girard. He helps me a ton with, my fitness and staying strong and things like that. And, how to eat and stay mostly fit. But, there's more to it. There's more to it. And I think that the more to it is the WAHLS protocol. I think that's what's going to help me.
How did you come to the WAHLS protocol?
Well, right away when everything happened 4 years ago, and it's so embarrassing to say that, I kind of started, like I freaked out, freaked out. Like I was like, whoa, I woke up yesterday, I was fine, and today I'm not. So I had kale and I was eating it by the fistful, plain, no dressing. I was just like,
well, how did you know about that? Like, how did you come to the WAHLS? How did you know?
Well, I was just looking up. That's a great question. I just got online and started doing a ton of research about MS. What is it? What's going to happen to me? And of course I saw all the really bad things and, that it can lead to, bad per se. I'm not fighting cancer right now, so I'm blessed. But just, what this disease course can take, the course that the diseases can take. And so, I saw the TED Talk. The TED Talk is what kind of hooked me. I was just like, wow. And I just was just so impressed with Dr. WAHLS, just how authentic she was. And when she was up on stage doing her TED Talk, it was almost like her urgency, that was those words that were coming out of her mouth. And I get it now. I didn't get it 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I was like, this is fine. It's not a big deal. I'll just fight through it. I'll do what I want, drink what I want, do what I want, do how I want. It's no, there's more for me. There's more to life than just me, with the kids and with my friends and, the people that I really care about in my life, my mom and dad.
Okay.
So,
kind of
but
like
anyway,
you just said, Tony's chiming in saying, there's a de-learning process. Would you agree? Where you have to kind of what you knew, right? Low fat. You had to reconsider a whole new paradigm shift in thinking. No, because
Oh, absolutely,
when
Tony.
I grew up, what I
Absolutely.
learned in medical school actually was contrary to what Dr. Wall was talking about.
Right.
I had
Yeah, same for my husband. Same thing. I mean, he does the keto and stuff for vanity, but it really helps him. He has a lot of energy and stuff. But
right. Well,
he's not vain. I'm totally joking on that.
no, I know your
Yeah,
team. I'm
yeah.
sure you do. All right, so now you get diagnosed. Oh yeah, wait. One question somebody asked about the gladium. Did you have contrast with your MRIs? Probably
I did. Yeah. I don't know, all 4 times. Who knows?
four in 4 years.
Yeah, 4 and 4 years, maybe 5 even. I think one
It-
year I had
mm,
2.
What's it like? The first time I ever went in the tube, I was just freaked out. I was like,
Oh yeah, I freaked out. I'm claustrophobic.
I wasn't. Oh yeah, I wasn't so much claustrophobic, but I'm like, it was just such gravity. Like, yeah, you're not well, and I've never been not well.
Yeah, I've
Now,
got some secrets. Yeah, definitely now for the MRI stuff, and I love the cloth that they give you over your eyes. To me, that helps me a ton. So
I
yeah.
hate the earphones. They play music. I can never hear it. That's all I hear is bang, 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 bang.
Oh, I know. It's like dun, dun,
I'm
dun, 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 dun. Yeah,
like, what is it,
exactly.
like placebo earphone? But
Yeah. Well, once now I'm like I just did one recently, and I just pass out. I'm so tired. MS tired. It's like sleep anywhere. Ball games, asleep.
I never had trouble sleeping. I fell asleep in the grenade field in the army back when I was like
Uh,
18.
Okay, now that's impressive. That might have been your
Well,
first sign
no,
of
they keep you
MS.
up for like days in a row. So like whatever,
Right.
you keep standing up. It's crazy,
Your,
but
your buddies were probably like smacking you. They're so jealous. He's asleep.
everybody does it. You're like, if you go like 5 minutes. But anyways, tell
Yeah.
us. So you just get diagnosed. You're at the neurologist, and he uses the word multiple sclerosis. And you're like me. I'm like, what is that? Like Jerry's kid? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah. What is that? Yeah, exactly.
So what's going through
Um, okay, I'll be 100% honest with you. Um, it because of the type of person I am, I just felt like a letdown. I felt like all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got MS. This is, I'm a mom of 3, and my husband's is working his tail off, and this and that to help and provide. And Lord, he helps the whole daggone community here. And I just, so right away, I didn't feel hopeless. That's not it, because I have the info that I need, and I have support and things like that. But I just felt like I said, I felt like a letdown. I felt like I was letting the people that I love and care for most down. You know, um,
that?
that's tough. It's tough
It's,
because I know that's not true. Like I know that now.
you're
And, I,
right. Yep.
and I'm one of those weirdos. I think everything happens for a reason and blah, 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 whatever. I don't know how to explain all events in the world
Right. Right.
to that, but um, I'm definitely a goal oriented person. So I just, that's how I felt. And I felt overwhelmed, just literally overwhelmed with the choices and the things that were offered to me. So the first neurologist offered me, he said, I really think you need to test the DARA and uh, the one that you take by mouth, Gilenia. And then he said, we did we wanted to do an MRI of my C-spine, because he's still looking for damage in more than one area, yada, yada, yada. But I just have damage in my brain right now. And so he didn't find it. So when I came back to him, he said, why don't you, let's send you somewhere else and get you a second opinion. And I just really appreciated that. I was super stoked. So he sent me up to University of Kentucky, and I saw Dr. Chalkley. Dr. Chalkley said, yes, it's MS. I recommend Copaxone, or the one where you do like 2 infusions a year. And once again, he recommended those things with this is just what he knows. This is what he knows. What he's been taught. He's one of the professors of neurology up there. Great guy. Really, really, really like him. But he said that, these 2 would be best for me, because I'm kind of anti-medication, all medication. And he just said these 2 would be the best to help, that have the least side effects. So I went home and started reading again. And then I contacted you immediately, in a fret, Dr. G, what do I do? So fear. So it was, being a letdown, and then being
Fear,
overwhelmed, and then fear.
yeah, feeling of unworthiness. Um, Unfortunately, these are all so common and near and dear to my heart, unfortunately. Um, so, was your husband there with you? You came home, told your husband, your family.
No, well, I'm such a loner on these sorts of things because, like I said, and it might be pride. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm human. I know that, but I do all of this stuff on my own, because I have to process and I have to think things out, and
I
you
understand.
know, um, but no, but my husband was like, yeah, but he is on board with me, wanting to do the diet and exercise, and so are my closest friends and family. My son's so sweet. He watched the another great tool, I think, which is a great motivator, is the Matt Embry produced show called Living Proof. And my children watched that with me, and I'm so proud of them because
Good, good.
Hallie's 13, Hunter is 8. Hallie's 13, Hunter is no, Hallie's 13, Hunter is 12, Mia is 8. And they were just like, wow, mom. And Hallie is so cute. My 13-year-old is doing her homework. She looks up from it. She's like, yeah, no, don't take that one. She, like, don't take that drug. She's like, yeah, no, you could do this, mom. And they're just such good little cheerleaders. But anyways, that show was wonderful. It was very motivating. And I just, am thankful for them and all the hard work that they've done to try to fight, the stigma of medication, and the young man, Matt, who's just working so hard, to stay healthy, following his protocol. So
Yeah, the Embryos are amazing, and I have
absolutely.
friends with them. They're wonderful people, and they're so huge hearts. And that movie is really good, just extending the gravity of MS, but also just to kind of share our fears and what we're going through, right? Because
Right.
well, even after you're diagnosed, right, you're still knowing what you don't know, right? And then even like
Exactly. Well,
even
and this is all just really new to me. I know it'll be interesting maybe to check in with you all here in the next 3 or 4 months when I am just hardcore and all of that. It'll be interesting, to see how things are.
so take us now. So you've kind of, I don't know, you ever digest the diagnosis, but you're moving on to like, okay, what can I do now? So now you start thinking about different things. Think about
Well,
drug or not drug, diet or not diet, exercise. Like what's in your head?
exactly. Yes. Well, and I'm definitely going 100% diet and lifestyle. And like I learned at the protocol, which I went to the Walls protocol seminar, which was an amazing experience. I hope that all of you get to do that. A lady named Angela actually gave me her tickets. I feel like it was a divine intervention that I got to go. But anyways,
Wonderful.
it yeah, a lot of wonderful people in my life, but I'm so blessed. But it just so many things, that you learn there. And one of the main things was, it's not just food, it starts with the food, it starts with this. And but Dr. Walls, I mean, she is just adamant, it's your exercise, it's your mind, it's lots of things. It's what you surround yourself with. It's like, get that bad out. And just really simplifying has been a major thing for me. Just simplifying, dialing things back,
Like that. And
saying no.
explain a little more about that because that's a big deal for me. So explain a little bit, how have you dialed back?
I'm just saying no. I'm a yes girl. Yes to everything. You want some help moving? Anything, whatever it is, I will definitely do it to the best of my ability. I'll give it my all. And just focusing on what's important. And keeping those. And then just positive relationships. Building a positive relationship with you, with someone that I can learn from, and building a positive relationship just with just people in my life that help me and build me up, and people that I can in turn help build up. Just that few select people that just really have a positive impact on your life. that's a big deal for me. So
Are you still in mourning? I mean, I was in mourning for quite a while. Like, I just couldn't believe it. A lot of tears.
I'll be honest, I am. I went to play some pickup soccer, and I know you just want to smack me in the face because you'd probably love to go play some freaking pickup soccer, but I couldn't do it. Like I turned, to make like a drop step and go defend, and I was with my family, and it was I couldn't do it. I was like, okay, and that's all right, but I can walk. And so I stopped playing soccer. I was like, hey, Hunter, Mia, Billy, and Hallie, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm done. My foot hurts and whatever, and it did. It hurt a little bit, but it was mostly my pride.
It's so hard. I don't.
It's hard. It is. It's hard. Like I said, I used to practice with the guys in college. Like literally, my coach from Holland, be like, hey, you got to come practice with the guys today. They don't know how to work hard. I was like, okay, I'll come.
You're definitely a goer. You're definitely like a goer.
Yeah. So I'm in a little bit of mourning. But it won't take me long to find a way to be positive with that. And like I said, just having the positive influences around me and things like that, that helps me a ton. So, and I don't know how long does the morning last, Dr. G? How long do we stay
I
down?
don't know. For me, it's been many, many, many years.
Well, you need to suck it up and get up.
Well, you know what?
You just need lunch. You just need lunch. You'll be fine.
I just got done exercising.
Yeah, you're a man. You're just hungry. You're a man.
I'm hangry, but yeah, the morning was. And you know what? The last couple months have been really solid for me because I've really embraced that whole stinking thinking and the observer of thought. Eckhart Tolle is I'm a big fan of his, and he always talks about being the observer of thought. Like, you're not going to end the thoughts, right? You're not going to not feel crummy. You can't play soccer, but in my head, I'll say, all right, I can't play soccer, but what I can do,
Right.
and I could love my wife, I could do things like that. And so I always think, well, I'm not quite the man I was, and that may be true, but I always go back to, and I said this before, that when I was first diagnosed, I was going to get married. And the nurse, I was like, I can't get married, I have MS. And she's like, well, why is that? I said, well, I won't be, the man or whatever. He's like, well, there's plenty of men that are jerks without MS. So
yeah, that's absolutely true. 100%. I like her.
So that what leads me to the point, like, you can't play soccer, but what can you do? And you could do plenty of things. Like, what you're doing right now is huge. So, so I begin to like embrace. It's really, really easy to get sucked in all that. It's horrible. These are the reasons, but it's kind of hard to say, all right, you're still human. You're still got dignity. You still have amazing gifts. So all that being said, so now you kind of dropped a ball in your lap right now. Also, I got to figure out. I got to change my diet. I got to meditate. Like, what's going through your head?
Well, yeah, a lot of that's going through my head, and how to make those changes. Like I said, I work out with a guy named Rob Longwell, and he helped me a ton. But about 3 years ago, he saw me in the gym. He was like, hey, what's going on with you, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I think I have MS. And he was like, well, I think I can help. And he did. He helped me get some weight off and things like that. And he had a lot of ideas on how to make changes, dietary changes. So those things have helped a lot as far as controlling hunger and stuff like that, that he knows from weight training and stuff. So now I just have to build those healthy habits, and mentally tell myself, how to make those changes. Tony, I follow him on Facebook some, and he's posting his foods and his meals and stuff like that. I mean, you got to eat. You got to eat. You can't just starve yourself and things like that. You got to get in there what your body needs. So yeah, just the thing that helps me a lot is to do some kind of reset or a cleanse. I'm kind of into the Prolon thing. I'm doing that actually right now. Started day one today just because I need to. I couldn't wait on anybody. I was like, I got to do this. I got to reset.
You're doing the fast now, right?
Yeah, I'm doing the fast now. I'm on day one.
So what Susie's talking about is that Prolon fast is a fasting mimicking diet fast. And it's pretty well researched. And I know a lot of the doctors, neurologists, are really prescribed to that. So it is interesting. You're on the website, you look up Prolon. But so it's a fasting mimicking diet. So you actually consume calories. But your body doesn't understand it. It confuses a bit, and it thinks it's fasting. And the research has shown that it helped with multiple sclerosis in the murine model, in the mouse model. So they really have it translated to humans. So I can't quite say that it works for MS, but we know with autophagy, programmed cell death, and cleaning out those cells, it
Yeah.
has benefit. So anyway,
And
doing that.
and the non-scientific side of that for me, the PE teacher over here, which I'm sure there are like super brilliant PE teachers out there. Sorry, phys ed teachers, but um,
Very
the non-scientific side for me is that it just resets my taste buds. It resets my hunger and things like that for me, as far as not craving sugar and stuff like that. You know, some scientific genius has figured out how to do that, and all in this little kit. So I'm pretty okay with that.
That's pretty cool. So that was the big thing with me, was realizing the more sugar I ate, the more I wanted. So
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Like, which, and I don't understand. Like, you think you don't eat very much sugar, and then you look at it, and it's in everything. Oh my God, like ketchup and everything. I'm like, ugh. You know, and then once you get it out of your system and you taste it, it's like almost nauseating. Like,
well,
it really good.
SUZIE is clearly addictive. They've proven that over and over again. We even do brain scans of people taking heroin and people on sugar, and it's stimulating the same part of the brain.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, on your website. Yes.
So it's very clear what sugar is doing, and these are all, sugar, dairy, like all these are very comforting to us. And they even talk about like some of these things are mimicking what's in breast milk. So they really got us by the short
Oh,
hair,
wow.
because
Yeah.
it's in us. And so now we're saying, oh no, we're not doing that. And
Yeah.
doing it for, I've been doing
Yeah.
it 50
And
years.
Dr. Walls, when I went to that conference, who, I mean, I could sit here and cry about what an amazing person she is. Just, she doesn't really even know me probably, but she's changed my life for the better, and so have you. But anyways, she,
People like it.
she was all about um, what, oh God, I just lost my train of thought. She was all about
Okay.
yeah, I lost my train of thought because I got
No,
really,
you're
I
having
got really
trouble.
gratuitous. I got really grateful and thankful. And so, anyways, I lost my train of thought.
But you were talking about before that she's more about not just the diet, about everything else that goes in diet, lifestyle,
Yes. Yeah.
work. She talked
Yeah.
about
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. She's all about the why. Why are you doing this? What would, you bring out your magic wand and use your magic wand and say, okay, I can do this, and why am I doing it? And my why obviously would be my kids and my husband and the people that I care the most about. But my other why is, to prevent. Yeah, and I know I can't prevent that morning, the morning stage and how you feel. And, it's funny, like when I was texting, or when I sent you a message about the MS, and you just replied with sorry. You're like, yeah, man, I've been through it. There's nothing I can say. I get that. And, maybe we can prevent, maybe I can help Dr. Walls and you and Embry's, and, help prevent people from going through 4 years of wasted time, I guess is my why.
Walls puts it quite succinctly, spreading the word of the epidemic of health. So we always talk about epidemics of like colds and disease, but what about the epidemic of health? Like,
Absolutely. Or
spread.
love, or being positive, or yeah, I mean, there's so much negative, if it spreads, it's like
Yeah,
we've got to tip the scale. It's got to be thrown over, and we got to just start loving people and helping them.
because by loving people, right? That's like the Bible's all about. It's through love. So how can it not be love? You're taking care of yourself, you take care of your family, you take care of the community. So
Yeah.
like that.
Well, and the cool thing too is that, I feel like a lot of this information, it just needs to be sent through the right vessel. So, she has her TED Talks, and she has this, and, she's just doing so many different learning avenues and stuff, which is excellent. But, we all have a language that we speak and that we understand, and I think that will be the key to learning, how to communicate with people, and how to get that information to them, in a loving yet effective way. So it'd be cool.
Well, you're doing it right now. I mean, the Walls Warriors, right, are us. They're not
Yeah,
some kind of, like knight in shining armor. I mean, it's just everyday people, us. So, um, to be a warrior, though, right, you have to believe it. So, how did you take the leap of faith? Because there's a lot of other diets. There's a lot. You could be a vegetarian. You could be a this or that, but you chose to travel down the walls route. Wow.
that's a great question. Um, my leap of faith has been taken just from all of the reading and the research that I've done, and all of the research that Dr. Walls has already done for us. Ashton Embry, Matt Embry, you, um, just the research now that is available. And I would really love to at some point be a part of some of those studies, But anyways, it's that seeing people at the Walls conference as well, and hearing their testimonies. I mean, it's evident that it works. It's clear. I see it right in front of my eyes. And Dr. Walls is hula hooping. Is she running track or anything? No, and that's okay, because we have MS. We have MS. We're gonna have MS for forever. you know and that's okay. But how we're going to deal with it is the main issue. Like you said, how are we get to pick. Are we going to do some drugs? Are we going to do some medicine? Are we going to go see Dr. Charlene? Are we going to do, we have all of these things that we can do. And right now I'm going to simplify, and I'm going to focus on 9 cups of fruits and vegetables a day. I'm going to focus on lowering stress, having a few very key relationships, husband, kids, mentors, really close friends, coaches, those things, getting some daily sun. So just get really focused and start at the bottom and build that base layer, and then just stack up on top, and then get to the point where I get healthy enough to help others.
I'm laughing because it's just amazing how far you've come in just a few weeks. I mean, you just nailed
Yeah.
relationship, food, diet, exercise, sun. I mean, you've nailed like
Yeah. Now
pinnacle.
I just have to do it all. It's funny. It's like I almost need a checklist, or like maybe an assistant would be nice.
I,
Maybe baby Mia can
I,
make me a list.
I tried to write an app that we'd have on our phone that we could just check off. And
Yeah.
a gentleman from India contacted me and said he would work on me with me, but he was like, the app companies are like, oh, for $100,000, no problem, we'll have it made. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's like, I'll do it for free because I have MS too, but I haven't heard from him again. So hopefully
Well, that would be great.
it would be nice, right? You just put like,
Yeah.
but I
My
mean,
fitness pal, my MS buddy. We can call it my MS buddy.
yeah, something like that. Because I made all
Yeah.
these sheets to check off, but then you gotta have a sheet, you gotta print it, you gotta like, I don't know,
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I'm not super great with clerical work. My husband would tell you that. I haven't paid a bill or anything in forever, but um, I don't know. To me, it's just about building the habits, and I know any habit takes 21 days. So good or bad,
Good
good habits
point.
and bad habits.
Good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So where are you now? Like, where are you at?
Well, I'm
By your
I'm
own system.
prayerful. I'm
Right.
learning and just trying to soak up as much knowledge as I can. Um, I'm cutting some things out of my life and putting some things in my life to just get focused. And I just got the Walls Protocol cookbook. I did not get paid to show you that. I'm really excited about it, so I
Yeah,
showed
I
you.
don't get paid by Dr. Walls yet. People
Yeah,
like,
Dr. Walls doesn't have any
yeah,
money because she's putting it all towards research.
yeah. So she's not
So,
looking at. Yeah, I'm just
she picks her own vegetables,
there.
but
You
with Dr. G's face in the garden. But
go. Yeah,
anyways,
I know. How humbling is that? But
I
anyway,
don't know. I thought it would be really cool to cook through a bunch of these recipes and just try stuff out. And that's where I'm at. I am at the starting line basically. So I got 5 days of just meditation and things like that, and lots of thinking and planning with the prolonged fast too, which is nice.
like as you go into ketosis, there's this incredible sense of clarity. But what you're doing is kind of what we talked about. Is you said, well, I'm not really sure what to do, and I kind of thought about that for a long time. Is the only thing you can do is what you're doing is educate yourself because
Absolutely.
there's a ton
Absolutely.
good information and bad information, right?
Yep.
It's how do you filter through? I attach myself to great people like Walls and Gundry and Starlin and all the rest.
Yeah, I'll be giving to TED Talks for the rest of my life. That's for certain.
Love that.
That's a pretty great program there.
Yeah, no.
We have to, that's another thing, my husband's kind of an economist on the side, excuse me. We have to pay for and give money towards things that we want to stay around. So farmers and things like that. If you like that good or service that is provided, you've got to contribute to it, no matter what it is. So
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. We have to. Yeah, no, that's very well said. So, how are your kids dealing with that? I mean, you're still doing some gluten, still doing the sugar. I mean, you're trying your best. Well, not now because you're fasting.
oh yeah, no, yeah, now I'm fasting. Well, Hunter, a couple days ago, my daughter, who is 13, Hallie, she probably has a gluten allergy. She has had stomach aches and things like that for a long time, and we took her off of it like in kindergarten and this and that, and she makes her own choices now when it comes to that. So anyways, we are gonna probably do it as a family, because they love like meat on the grill and vegetables and fruits anyway, and they can have their things that they would like at another site. So that's kind of what we're with. And my husband is super clean eater. He's like ridiculous. Like they put discipline in the dictionary, and then Billy's name's right under it. It's just Billy. He's so disciplined. So he's, we tease him. We tease him a lot about being so, by the book, but he's been super successful that way. But anyway, so family wise, I have so much support. I'm really lucky. My friends, my closest friends really support what I'm doing. And I've just flat out told them straight up, this is what I'm doing. I'm gluten free. I'm dairy free. I'm sugar free. Don't offer it to me. Don't offer it to me. If you see I have it, you got the green light, smack it out of my hands. Seriously, my son yesterday was like, what? Or the day before, I don't know what, it was like a gluten free brownie. Hallie made some gluten free brownies. And he's like, don't eat that, Mom. Like he cares. He got like almost angry. It was awesome.
We underestimate our children. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
My son came in the bathroom yesterday, was freaking out, like, why are you in the shower by yourself?
Like, yeah, exactly.
Like, like I'm going, and he runs up to get Mom. And Mom,
yeah, tell on you.
Oh.
Yeah.
And even my wife came out. I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh.
Yeah, you're opening the curtain. You're like, hey, Carolyn, look at me.
And
she's like, oh God.
I'm standing, but I'm holding it. But you know about a person like this wheelchair bound for a long time.
It's funny, and you're so proud of yourself, for taking a shower, and everyone's mad at you.
Part of me is so proud of myself, celebratory, and then the other part of the brain is like, you're 50 years old, you're celebrating because you're being in a shower.
Like, heck yeah. And you know what? We got to celebrate that stuff. We got it. We got to celebrate the little things, and I eventually want to get to the point where, I mean, right now I'm smart enough to know to stay away from things that could be tempting, but because there's science that goes into that. And my husband tells me this all the time too. He's like, you get around something, more than 10 times, that 10th time you could fold, so just to, keep things, away if you can and stuff. That's kind of a key to being successful too. But
how do you deal with the doubts? Because I'm sure you doubt, like, well, I'm not eating gluten, I'm not eating sugar, I'm not eating dairy. Everybody's having ice cream and pizza. Like, this isn't really going to help me. And this, like, how do you get around that?
Well, I think about people like you that have doubted and stuff as well. And I'm big into learning from those who are wise and those who have been through it, so I'm like, and plus, over the last 4 years, I've done this, I've done that. It's worked. It hasn't worked, and I know that, there's going to be some sort of progression, but I just want it to be so slow. I want to be like driving down the road and a bug hits the windshield and it goes, wee, instead of like splat, I want that progression to just get so slow.
And so we can even, I know we could say that we kind of ascern to ourselves or digest the fact that MS is a progressive disease, and that's what the medical community tells us. But when you're really following the protocol, and I'm making gains, like, it's secondary progressive. I know you're not there, but you're not supposed to make gains ever.
Right. I've read that.
So not only is it changing the trajectory, that it's slowing the progression, but actually starting improvements. That's profound.
Yeah, and causing healing, and that's awesome. And I'm so new, and I'm a realist too, and so it'll be interesting how my mindset changes in the future on that.
Well, I'll tell you, I wasn't always this much disciplined like your husband. Like, I'd walk by the break room a dozen times and see that box of donuts, but that 15th time, I had
Yeah.
done. I
Oh
wouldn't,
yeah.
I wouldn't do that now, but I mean, it was harder. Everybody's having pizza, and I'll just have a little bit, or I'll just
Yeah.
have a little slice of cake. But
Yes.
what I didn't realize is when you have that little exposure, it sets off a cascade. It could last for months,
Right.
and so you eat that thing, and it's not immediate. For some, it is, right? For me,
Oh yeah. For some it is, and for some it isn't. Like I have a peanut allergy. Well, I could be at a Texas Roadhouse and it won't bother me. I don't have to, I have to ingest it for it to bother me. And so, um, when I'm at Texas Roadhouse or whatever, it won't bother me right then. I'll get through the meal. I'm fine. I'm careful. I use my fork. I don't use my hands, whatever to eat anything or whatever. But by the time I get home and that next day, it's like I can't even hardly breathe. I'm like wheezing and need an inhaler. So those allergies and things that bother our body, like you said, we won't necessarily know right away all the time.
yeah, and that's the other thing with MS. Things can be going on, and just because you don't have a lesion or just because you don't feel it doesn't mean it's not going on.
Exactly.
So, well, I can have bread, or I can have eggs, or I can have dairy, and I don't. It's not causing me any damage. Well, do we really know? Do we really
Right.
know? So
Right.
that's the thing. Even with Dr. Walls with eggs, like why take the chance? And for me, unfortunately, well, I don't know how you're so disciplined. I can't believe it. How strict you are. Well, put your butt in a wheelchair, and you get real strict.
Yes. Yes.
Or
And
you choose the other way, I guess. Too.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, you got to find what motivates you, and you don't want to be there. You want to be standing in the shower, slinging the shower curtain, going, "Hey."
I
Yeah.
just want to be part of humanity.
Exactly.
I want to be there
Yeah.
for my wife and my kids, just like you, your husband.
Right. And to me, blending up some vegetables and things like that, being weird, as far as food goes,
Weird.
that is a small price to pay to just be a part of everything for a while.
It's such
So,
a profound statement, being weird, because years ago, and this is how we ate. This isn't new information. This is
yeah,
rediscovering, right?
right. No, you're totally right. Yeah. Like what happened? When did all, and we know lots of things, women went into the workforce and blah, 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 whatever, there's so many things that, contribute to the way our lifestyle is now and how we eat and how everything's fast food. And I get it. I have 3 kids in travel sports. I get it. But,
Yeah.
just me personally, I can't talk for everyone else. I'm just so set up to succeed. I really am. And I just hope that I can. And, I don't know.
So,
I'm
what
just,
advice would you give somebody like today? They just got home from the neurologist. They're searching around. They just been told. What's your advice? I know it's early on for you, but what kind of
yeah.
advice? Yeah.
I would just say, listen to the TED Talk. It's probably the 17 best minutes of your life. I mean, think about all the amazing things that's happened, and it's up there. It is up there. That TED Talk will be life changing. Um, at some point, listen to Dr. Terry Walls and read as much as you can. Get the book, read it front to back. Um, get people in your circle that are going to support you, and fight, in your mind, fight the common thought that medicine is the only way. Because it's funny, because 4 years ago I was kind of like, oh, I'm going to do this Walls protocol thing because it worked for this lady and she got herself out of it. At the time I didn't know her exactly, but
Right.
but it's just different now. I just don't know how to explain it. Number one, I know it's real. I know I have it. Number two, these other things are just not guaranteed. And so do your research. When you're reading the article, look down and it's sponsored by Tesfidera. Read that stuff. Find out what, the ads are on the MS Society pages. No offense against those people. Nothing. I know you didn't wake up this morning and say, wow, I work for the MS Society. I want to ruin someone's life. That is not their goal. I know that.
Right.
But we have all that misinformation. And so, listen to someone like Dr. Terry Walls that has done all of this work. It just works just tirelessly and with so much effort, as do you, Dr. G, and others, to help us. Like just listen to people. We don't know everything. So
I don't either. You know, I didn't give me a lot of credit, but all I'm doing is I'm just regurgitating information. I didn't come up with any of this stuff. It's through like Dr. John Reed, Dr. Brenison, Dr. Terry
oh
Walls,
yeah, there's tons. You're right.
all these people. I go to them and I listen. The son, Dr. Jack Crew. I mean, there's so many. You take the good information, and like you drew a great point is you have to be very fastidious when you read these papers. And Facebook's notorious. You get an article saying eating worms is good. Well, right?
Right.
They said a
Yeah.
lot.
Who
Yeah,
wrote that?
right.
Yeah.
I know. I just made that up, but I mean, I remember I was like eating cow brains, bee stings. I was falling
Right.
for everything.
Yeah, I
And,
was telling my coach that the other day. I was like, yeah, he's tried it all. This is what works. So
because you're backed in the corner, you're like, and there was no Terry Walls then, or there was. I didn't know about her.
right.
There's
Yes, exactly.
out there. She had a book called Minding My Mitochondria, which I tried to read, but it was like it read like a textbook, and
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I'm pretty lucky that she's dumbed it down for me over here
yeah, right.
in the Walls Protocol.
Me too.
Eat this, Susie. Don't do this. Okay. I got you.
Leave me by the hand. I'm okay with it. That's all right.
Yeah, that's
Even
right.
when I went to Dr. Charlin this time, he's like, well, you probably know this by now. I'm like, just assume I know nothing. Just go ahead, dude.
Oh, that's what I have to tell people too. I'm like, no, this is not osmosis intelligence over here at the Stafford house. Nope.
No.
Knew that Dr. Stafford is the bright guy, not this chick.
Oh, you're pretty bright, Susie, obviously. And I love how you embrace it. I'm just so excited for your future and to see how you've grown into it, and how I just think you're going to help out so many, because you're kind of the face of newly diagnosed, and the uncertainty and fear that we all have, that I have every day.
Yeah.
And I think, as I said before, when you feel hopeless, you become helpless. But Dr. Walls has given us some tools to get some control back in our life.
Yeah, she really has.
And like you said, it's well researched. It's not just, like before when I even started the protocol, she hadn't done the research in, so I wasn't certain. But now,
yeah. Agree. I was like, I know this bell curve. I know what a bell curve is. There's outliers. I kept having that thought. I'm like, there's outliers. There's Dr. G's over here. Dr. Walls is over there.
People come to me all the time and say, well,
yeah,
my dad smoked till he was 110 and he did well. I'm like, all right.
Right? Yeah.
I answer that. I mean, yeah, good for him. I'm glad.
Yeah, way to go.
I wish I could do that. I can't, but so yeah, outliers, meaning outliers, like there's a book, and it just means that people that don't fit. I mean, there's people that have cancer that cure. I mean, there's so many.
Right. Exactly.
But we try to find what you're talking about, the bell curve. So when you look at science, it goes up and down, and so there's people here, there's people here, but you kind of want to be in the middle.
Yeah.
Just be with the pack.
Yeah, and I just, with the research that's done, I mean, the drugs and stuff, when you read about it, it's not as successful as this protocol has been for people. No one has said to me, oh wow, I really followed this protocol and I feel like garbage. Not one person. So I mean, I'm sure there's some that Dr. Walls and then Garland, they have to dive in.
Yeah, there's a few, and with that, I would say, as Dr. Wallace says, if you're doing a protocol and it's not quite doing what you want or not achieving the expectations you want, you may need to look deeper. So that's kind of what I did. I went into functional medicine. I found out my thyroid was off. I found out my methylation was off. There's deeper things that my physician, not the
was able to find. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And they weren't looking for that either. So I think it's very important. The protocol itself is brilliant, but sometimes you need a little more guidance. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But back just to say something about the drugs real quick before we wrap it up. I used to be very anti-drug, and every drug was bad because when I was working as a doctor and dentistry before that, um, I used to write every prescription. Right, it used to do fluoride and antibiotic, like um, women with yeast infection, whatever. And
Right.
so when I started the protocol, I began the affinity towards like all drugs are bad, and I stopped all my medication, even my thyroid medication. But there are situations in which drugs are good. Like for example, if you have pneumonia, you
Oh,
make
yeah.
an antibiotic, right? So that leads me to this thing about MS drugs. So I used to villainize the MS drugs, and they do have a purpose for some people in some situations. So if you're on an MS drug, I'm not saying everybody needs to go off drugs, MS drugs, because in certain situations, those drugs are helping cut the inflammation. But if you could do that through the protocol and you demonstrate that, a lot of neurologists will wean you off the drug. So that's something between you and your neurologist and you and your family
Yeah,
decide.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, those people that even research the drugs and put in that tireless effort to come up with this, they were doing it to help someone. It's like, oh, I'm going to hurt this person. And also, obviously, there's money that's involved there too. But, I have the deep feeling that people deep down are good, and that could be young and naive of me. But like you said, I do think that the drugs can definitely help some people too, and maybe someday I'll need them as well. But I'm super excited to try this Walls protocol and see how that does for me early on.
So then I would, as you did, I would encourage folks to reach out. I mean, there's people on the Walls Protocol site that are more than willing to help. Myself, Tony, people, Tina. There's people like that you can reach out to. But aside from that, then there's protocol coaches and there's functional medicine doctors. Um, when I was really down and out, and I was nearly ready to give up, Bobby, she lives in an assisted living facility in CSMS, but she said something to me that really stopped me in the tracks. She's like, "Well, what's next?" So I'm all, it's the end of the world, and I'm ruined. But she's like, "What's next?" And so that's when I like, all right, let me look deeper in it. So, like you're doing, so
Yeah,
I
what's not?
I think it's this, unfortunately, this circle where we get on top of the game and we slip and we go back. Like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I
well,
believe.
thank you so much. I think I'd like to keep talking to you as you go, and I like to have you back because I think your story is really really touches a lot of us, and we've been in that boat, and many more unfortunately are going in that boat. They'll need guidance. So um, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
You have a wonderful day. God bless
You too.
everybody.